In a stunning escalation of diplomatic tensions, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has accused Iran of orchestrating anti-Jewish attacks on Australian soil, a charge that could redefine Canberra's foreign policy posture in the Middle East. Speaking in Canberra, Albanese described the incidents in Sydney and Melbourne as extraordinary and dangerous acts of aggression, pointing directly to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, as the mastermind behind these coordinated arson attacks. What makes this moment historic is not only the allegations themselves, but also the decisive steps Australia is taking, expelling Iran's ambassador, shutting down its embassy in Tehran, and preparing to formally designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization. According to Australian officials, the two attacks took place at Jewish sites in late 2024. The Lewis Continental Kitchen in Sydney on October 10th, and the Adass Israel Synagogue in Melbourne on December 6th. In both cases, assailants set fire to the properties, causing extensive damage, but fortunately no casualties. While the incidents shocked Jewish communities across the country, few anticipated that their origins might be traced back to a foreign state. Yet, the Albanese government now claims intelligence has confirmed exactly that. Australia wasted no time in sending a message. Foreign Minister Penny Wong announced that Iran's ambassador Ahmad Sadeghi, along with 3 of his colleagues, have been declared persona non grata and given just 7 days to leave the country. This marks the first time since World War II that Australia has expelled a foreign ambassador, a symbolic move that underscores the gravity of the accusations. At the same time, Australia has suspended its embassy operations in Tehran and pulled its diplomats out to a third country, cutting off nearly all official lines of communication. Mike Burgess, the head of the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, revealed that although Iranian diplomats in Canberra were not directly involved, intelligence indicates that the IRGC used a web of proxies to direct and finance these attacks. The IRGC, a branch of Iran's military deeply tied to its foreign operations, has long been accused by Western governments of sponsoring terrorism. Burgess confirmed that ASIO is now investigating whether the IRGC may also be linked to other anti-Jewish attacks in Australia that followed the outbreak of the Gaza war in October 2023. This move against Iran comes at a delicate moment for Australia, as its relations with Israel are also at a low point. The Albanese government has faced fierce backlash from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after joining France, the UK, and Canada in recognizing a Palestinian state at the UN. Netanyahu went so far as to call Albanese a weak politician who betrayed Israel and abandoned Australia's Jews. In response, Australian officials fired back, with Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke remarking that true strength is not measured by how many people you can blow up or how many children you can leave hungry. The fallout has even seen Israel revoke visas for Australian diplomats to the Palestinian Authority. Analysts suggest that Albanese's dramatic steps against Iran may also be aimed at bolstering his domestic standing, particularly among Australia's strong Jewish community. Mark Kenny, a political analyst at the Australian National University, noted that while Netanyahu's rhetoric has raised the pressure on Albanese, the intelligence on Iranian involvement is too significant to ignore. If proven true, a state actor carrying out terrorist-style attacks on Australian soil is a game-changing development, and one no government could afford to overlook. Australia's showdown with Iran represents more than a bilateral spat. It is a litmus test of how democratic nations respond to foreign-backed extremism on their soil. For Albanese, the stakes are enormous. He must balance his government's support for Palestinian statehood, the security of Jewish communities at home, and the broader challenge of navigating a fractured Middle East. What began as 2 arson attacks in Sydney and Melbourne has now exploded into one of the most serious diplomatic confrontations in decades. The question is, will this bold stand make Australia safer or drag it deeper into the turbulent politics of the Middle East?